Hey, Steve Mignani here doing the junkyard crawl in Berniston, Massachusetts at Berniston Auto Wrecking. You know, everybody loves a Chevy El Camino. Following on the heels of the 1957 Ford Ranchero, in 1959, Chevy adopts the same platform and creates the El Camino. The only question is, what about GMC dealerships? Did they never get examples of the El Camino? Well, they had to wait until 1971 to finally get the GMC Sprint. There it is right there. But yeah, keep in mind, there were no GMC Sprints or El Camino variants up until 1971. But you got to remember that most GMC dealerships partnered with Pontiac dealerships. So a lot of the customers probably said, man, I wish you guys had yourself an El Camino, I'd buy it. Well, GMC finally lobbied General Motors and got the Sprint. Basically the same as an El Camino inside, same basic everything, the floor pan, the windshield. There are minor variations, of course. And of course, in the world of the engines, GMC called the V8 the Invader, whereas Chevrolet would have called it the Turbofire or Jetfire, whatever it might have been. But again, these were based on the Malibu station wagon floor pan, and on every El Camino there's a panel right on the floor. If you lift the panel, it's buried here with a bunch of junk tranny cross members, but if you lift it up, you'll see the floor area where station wagon people would put their feet. Kind of an interesting thing, but again, very useful. Here's an extra clip, but there's more than meets the eye. The devil and salvation are in the details. Here's the quarter marker, but it says here right hand El Camino only. Yep, right there. So again, little details like the marker lamps and the end caps are specific to El Caminos. The fender is shared with the Malibu and the Chevelle. You gotta love that big open bed. And that was the whole point of the El Camino and Ranchero. They played into the Ute, the Australian Ute, which was sort of passenger car meets pickup truck, but with a passenger car ride, but most of the utility of a pickup truck. But again, El Camino and Sprint were basically the same vehicles, and the Sprint continued through the 1970s, and in the early 80s became the Caballero, but lived on well into the late 1980s. Inside, again, we see this one here. Must have been a column shifted automatic. You could get a 4-speed in these things, or a 3-speed on the column, but we see the big wide single brake pedal, so definitely an automatic car. Interior has been gutted on this one. The VIN on this is missing, but we do see the cowl tag says 71536. So that's a 1971 model. 536 is a V8 version of the Sprint. Now the thing is, 1972, the very next year, GM would add in the 5th spot an engine code. So you could actually find yourself a 454. Yeah, they put them in these things. Or the 402, or the 350, or the 250, or the 307. But something kind of weird on this one. This front fender emblem, it's at a distance says GMC Sprint, right? Not so quick. It says GMC, that's the same as the other side, but 5500 diesel. I looked at it really close. It turns out that the GMC Sprint and the heavy diesel trucks use the same logo with a different insert. So apparently the owner of this vehicle lost the fender, or somehow this emblem, found another one on a big GMC 5500 diesel truck and decided, I'll put that on there. So that's not factory, but it kind of is. Pretty weird. And keep in mind, in 1970, GMC pickup trucks could still be had with a V6 engine, something that Chevrolet never offered in their Chevy or in their pickup trucks in the 60s. Again, the GMC pickups from like 1960 through 69 could be had with a 304 cubic inch V6. So GMC and Chevrolet were similar but not identical. But when it comes down to the El Camino or Sprint, they were largely the same. Up front, this one would have a red GMC logo before this thing met the tree or whatever, punch it in the nose, but this would have had the GMC logo. But again, 99% of this was about the same as an El Camino. So that's the story of the GMC Sprint, the vehicle made to keep Pontiac-GMC dealerships happy and customers away from Chevy dealerships who wanted to buy an El Camino. They'd buy a Sprint instead. So if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Baggs YouTube channel.